Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Brian's farm. So we're starting off here in the garlic field this morning. Dad and I are getting the fertilizer. Well, actually what he's first doing is stepping off the field so we can get our list around for how much fertilizer we're going to need to put on each row, so that way we're not putting too much but we're also not putting too little. So it's very important to get a very accurate measure here and figure out exactly the ratio of fertilizer we have to put on, and I'll tell you exactly what that is once we get this figured out, because as you can see, the garlic field right now is doing really well. It's probably a little over a foot high right through every single row. Okay, so Dad and I just got the list around for what we're gonna need, and we are figuring we're gonna need 6.5 pounds per row, 80 pound total, 50 pounds of calcium nitrate mixed with 30 pounds of 12-18-12 corn starter with micros. So right here is my corn starter, and then on the back of the Kubota here is my calcium nitrate right here, which is a 15.500. So I'm gonna get that in the trash can I have over here, get it all mixed up as good as I possibly can. So I really don't have much of an idea what 30 pounds of this is, so I'm just gonna take a wild guess and see what happens. Kind of burns my nose a little bit. So now we'll come over here to our scale. The scale's kind of old, so it's a little bit hard to read the numbers, but there's 5, 10, and I want it to be 30, which is right there above my finger. So I'll set my camera down here and start pouring it in. Okay, so apparently that's not 30 pound. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay, so you can see there how it's bobbing right in the middle. If I touch this a little bit, how it shakes. That's exactly what I want. So now I can mix my calcium nitrate with that and we'll be good to go. I did not want to put my calcium nitrate in the barrel yet because I want to set that down when I get out there to the field, and it's gonna weigh like 80 pound, a little over 80 pound with the weight of the tub there. So I'm just gonna hold off till I get out there. I'll set it on the ground, then I'll pour it in and I'll mix it up. And then while I'm doing that, which is gonna take me a couple hours because I'm by myself, Dad is over here with our fertilizer bin, getting this all blowed off and cleaned so that when we get a load of fertilizer, hopefully later on today, it'll be nice and clean and it'll be ready to go for the season. That's what it looks like inside. It's a little bit rusty, but not bad for having fertilizer in it almost year round. What we usually do is we'll actually put fertilizer, or WD-40, we'll spray it and just drench the whole thing after we're done with it for the year and pressure wash it, because that keeps it from rusting. Because what'll happen is, and we've seen other guys do it, is if you don't take care of them like we do, or at least in some sort of manner, in a couple years those bins will just rot right out and they'll basically be garbage, and all you have is a running gear and you'll have to put a new bin on it. So to eliminate buying new bins every couple years, we just try and take care of it the best we can, and we usually don't have much of an issue. Here we are, ready to start at the garlic field. Also, you can see between the garlic is quite a few weeds starting to come up, and that's the whole reason for the straw, was to keep them down. If we didn't have that straw down, the weeds would probably be just about as high as the garlic is right now. So we try to do everything we can to keep the weeds down. And so now what we're gonna do is try and go through with our shielded sprayer or something of that sort and spray these weeds to keep them down a little bit longer. And then once we can't do that any longer, once the garlic gets too big, we'll just go through with our push mower, which we did last year, and it actually worked really well, just to keep it as clean as possible, because once you start getting weeds growing as big as the garlic, what that does is that just sucks nutrients from the soil, like that fertilizer I'm putting in. That's just gonna suck up, if not as much, if not more than what the garlic is, and it's wasted fertilizer, and then that garlic isn't getting what it needs. So the weeds are one of the worst things you can possibly have on a vegetable farm. Here's my calcium nitrate. I'm gonna rip this bag open. This stuff is really bad. Obviously, any of this stuff, if it gets on any kind of metal, it makes it rust. But calcium nitrate is really bad because basically if it's in the sun, like direct sunlight, it'll melt, is what'll happen. And so we try and keep it stored in the shade, or at least covered in some sort of way. And like out here, now that I have this open, I have to keep it covered with a lid, because if I don't, you know, it'll just kind of melt. So now what I'll do is I'll kind of just take and roll this around till I get a good even mixture. Here, I'll show you there. You can see it mixing with it now. As you've seen, I got my fertilizer mixed up, and I did 4 rows already, which I did not show. I was trying to just get the hang of it, get the feel for how fast I need to spread it, how much I need to put on, so that way I can go through the whole row with just hopefully ending up with nothing at the end, but also not cutting it short. So it's really tricky to get it all right. First row I actually ended up way short, like not even close. Hopefully I have some extra at the end. I don't know. I know Dad always mixes a little bit extra. Hopefully I can finish that with that. Second, third, and fourth row were definitely a lot better. I actually just fell about 3 feet short on my last row. So I think I've got it pretty down pat. I mean, you can't get it perfect, but I get it as close as I possibly can. So now I'll kind of show you exactly how I do it and how it's going. As I was explaining to you guys earlier, how that calcium nitrate melts, well, if you can see how shiny that is there on the end of that stick, after stirring it, that's just what happens. It's like starting to melt already, and it kind of just wipes off, almost like, it kind of seems a lot like WD-40, just really oily and greasy. So that's why, luckily I'm using it really fast. I mean, every 5-10 minutes I'm back in here, so I don't really worry about covering it. But if I wasn't going to use this for like an hour, I would definitely make sure I covered this, or I would probably be in some kind of problem. But anyway, how this is going is, I found out that if I fill this bucket here, like level full, and put it on my school, that's a little bit less than I usually have had it, but this will probably give me a little bit less than 5 pounds. And this scale's old, so bear with me. Actually, no, I'm just over 5. So that's good. Now I can take and I can pour this into my sprinkling can, which is what I'm spreading it with. And I might seem kind of weird, but you'll see how I do it. I got it in here. I'll pour it into my can. But I need 6.5 pounds per row, so I still need a little bit, not quite 1.5 pounds yet. So I'll get my other 1.5 pounds. Bring it over to the scale. Put it on. And that's almost perfect, because like I said, I had over 5.5, so now I don't need quite 1.5 pounds. So I'm gonna let that go with that there. Finish filling this up. A little bit there. Okay, so now what we did was, you can kind of see how it's all jagged. We had to cut that hole bigger so we could get the fertilizer in there, and then we also cut the end of our sprinkling can off, so that way I have a little bit bigger hole there. So now what I'm doing is, which I'm on row 5, I'll set this camera up here. There we go. So now I'm just trying to get a nice even spread throughout the whole thing. And it's hard to shake it really slow and walk slow. So I shake it about as slow as I can and walk at a pretty good pace, and you'll see that in a minute, and then you'll see how it works. And that kind of works best for me. If I had somebody else here doing it, I would kind of just have to tell them, you know, feel it out, whatever works for you. But it's very important that we get a nice even spread. So here we go. So here it is now, the next day. We're not doing much outside. It's been raining the entire day, and it's supposed to rain most of the day tomorrow. So sadly, we can't do much outside, but that gives us some time to do some jobs in here. Dad right now is down there, if you can see him. He's just spacing some geraniums, cleaning stuff up, getting it ready for market. And I am in the process of planting cucumbers and watermelon. Dad just got done planting red beets. That awful noise you hear is our heater, but right here is the red beets, bush beans, and then he got some pole beans done right here. Yesterday, at the end of the day, I seeded a ton of cucumbers and pickles down here, which should get us hopefully through the busiest season, but we want to keep going because we'd like to have some extra just in case, you know, we sell out. We don't want to sell out. We'd rather have a little bit extra than not enough. So I'm doing quite a few. I got just about 15 flats done, and I'm gonna do a couple more of some bush crop right here. And then if I have time, I'm gonna do the straight 8s. But after I'm done with the bush crop, I'm gonna move into crimson sweet watermelon, because a lot of people like to plant watermelon. We used to grow cantaloupes, but they didn't grow, not that they didn't grow, but they didn't sell quite as good as we would have liked, so we kind of did away with them throughout the years. But who knows, maybe it's a different time, people will start buying them again. So if I have the seed, which I'm not sure if I do, I might plant some of them as well. And then, so how we do these is we just place 3 seeds in each cell, and then that's basically all it is. There's not much to planting these, they're very simple. We plant 3 just because one plant really doesn't do it. Like, whether we're planting for a field or for retail sales, we like to have 3 plants in each plug or cell that we're planting into. So that just makes a nice bushy plant, and it's definitely not overcrowding. So I try my best to shake these out and get 3 in each one. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get a little less, but I can go back through when I'm done here and rearrange them. Okay, so now that I have 3 seeds in each one, I'll just go through with my fingers and poke these down in. And then once this is done, I'll take some extra soil, sprinkle it over top, and then they're ready to go. So I'll just take and level, let's see, pop back to the top. Level these out. And we will be good to go. So that's done. Then we'll carry it into the seed room here. And it'll get sat down here where it'll get watered, and then tagged, and then placed. Actually, that's full back there now, so everything will get placed right here. I'm gonna finish this up and then call it a night, because it's already pretty late and this is gonna take me a little while. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and always remember, it ain't much, but it's honest work.